Hola familia, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to another video in our product education series. Today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about Sananga, introducing the sacred plant medicine and explaining a little bit of how to work with this medicine and how it can be a beneficial ally and complement to our spiritual path and studies. Firstly, the Sananga is medicine for the eyes, both the inner vision, so our intuition, clarity, purpose, inspiration, connection to the divine, as well as the physical vision, the physical eyesight. Traditional peoples have worked with this medicine for millennia to nourish and support eye health and has been utilized in treatment by traditional peoples for a variety of different eye problems and eye illnesses. It is utilized to treat nearsightedness, farsightedness, glaucoma, myopia, and other issues such as astigmatism. And so generally speaking, when we're looking at the traditional use within the tribes, if a person was suffering from ailments of the eye, the Sananga would be prescribed in a protocol of usually 3 weeks of 21 days, sometimes longer, but generally speaking, it's recommended to work with the Sananga if you're looking to do some healing work for a period of a 21-day diet and take 1 to 2 weeks off, rest, letting the medicine recalibrate, integrate within your being, noticing and observing changes, and then if necessary, repeating the cycle and continuing with this process for as long as you need to complete your healing journey. Of course, for us, we can't claim any medical benefits with the Sananga, being that it's not FDA approved. So in this instance, I'm really just speaking to the traditional peoples and the ways in which they have worked with the Sananga for their peoples. And they also utilize it for, of course, the spiritual benefits as well. Traditionally, the hunters of the villages would work with Sananga in the evening time to sharpen their night vision and to prepare for the hunt. And then they would go out in their night hunting expeditions with that clear connection with source and invigorated eyesight. And so the Sananga can be an incredible ally for us if we're looking to deepen our vision, support our physical eye health, and nourish and attune to that place of intuition and innermost connection with our dream seeds and our prayers. The Sananga is a root from the Sananga shrub, and this root is boiled and creates this liquid eye drop, and then this liquid eye drop is what we utilize in the application. And so it has no preservatives in it, and so it is fresh plant matter, and it does have a shelf life. And so one of the things that is always really important when you're working with Sananga is to be aware of that, because you never want to place Sananga that has gone rancid into the eyes, right? So that's something that is really important to keep in mind. If you're working with Sananga, we always recommend before you take the Sananga to smell it, to look and search to see if there's any floaties or any microbes that have started to grow. That's another key indicator that the Sananga has turned. And first and foremost, always keep it in the fridge. It needs to stay refrigerated, and generally speaking, Sananga has a shelf life of about 6 months. Sometimes it can last longer, sometimes it will go bad sooner. It really just depends on the batch, the type of Sananga, as well as how much time it's spending outside of the fridge. So, if you're taking it out, you can take it out, and it's okay to keep it out for up to 24 hours sometimes if it's not like super hot out, but really keeping that in mind that it needs to go back in the fridge right away. So if you're traveling, it's okay to keep it, during your travels, but as soon as you reach your destination, to right away put it in the fridge. And then to really just check for the smell before you use it. And when you're checking for the smell, Sananga has an earthy smell, so it's going to have smell. What you're really looking for is fermentation, something that smells putrid or obviously off. Because the Sananga, each of the different Sanangas that we source, they all have a very unique scent. Some smell very earthy, others smell like a lighter scent to it, but it's not fermented. It has robust scent. So you have to really learn to tune, and one of the things is always to check it when you first get it, so you get a sense of what your Sananga smells like, and then be able to understand when it differs from that and when it starts to vary from that original scent. And again, really just having that awareness, and if you feel like the Sananga shouldn't be used, if you get that hit, the Sananga probably isn't so fresh anymore, just give it back to the earth and get a new bottle of Sananga. It's really better not to take any chances with the Sananga, being that it is raw plant material. Ultimately, though, the Sananga is a really beautiful medicine that really supports us in tapping into this place of ceremonial connection because of the effects of the experience of communion with Sananga. So Sananga really is incredibly potent in the way that it works on our nervous system, balancing, recalibrating the central nervous system. And it can be really beneficial for those who suffer from anxiety, even in treatment of depression or mood swings, because what the Sananga does is it instantly brings us into our bodies and helps us to have a full body experience, to tap into the heart, to our intuition, to that place of connection. And the Sananga very lovingly, very strongly and fiercely too, silences all the noise. And so for those of us who suffer from a lot of thoughts, or those of us who experience a lot of stress, or even if we experience physical symptoms such as headaches or migraines, Sananga can be really beneficial because it liberates all the physical density of the weight of what we're carrying energetically. And it's a really beautiful way to reset the nervous system and to come into a place of centeredness, groundedness, stillness. And so it has incredible benefits, and it can be utilized on its own in a Sananga ceremony, or you can utilize it in complement with a hot bay practice. Sananga is traditionally applied complementing certain other plant and entheogen medicines such as kambo. Certain ayahuasca traditions will utilize the Sananga in the morning of ceremony, after ceremony, or before you go into ceremony. And so it really has its place in the plant kingdom as an ally and a complementary medicine. And when utilized in this way, really can either open the body vessel to a deeper healing experience with another visionary plant medicine, or it can help ground, integrate, and complete a process in a very potent way. If you feel called to utilize Sananga, just like with all of our botanicals, always from a place of prayer, from a place of ritual. Specifically, the potency of this Sananga medicine definitely requires, ceremonial space. So if you're going to apply yourself with the Sananga, we always recommend smudging, putting on some medicine music, some ceremonial music, taking some time beforehand to center yourself, set your intentions, meditate, some breath work to open up the channels and really just tap into the breath. And then when you go to apply, we recommend lying down and being horizontal so that you can really relax the whole body. It's best, if possible, when you're receiving Sananga for the first time, to have someone apply you. And that's because the Sananga does sting, and so it can be challenging to deal with the stinging sensation and the burning sensation upon initial application, and also think about applying yourself. And also just with all the medicines, if you have a trusted person who is a medicine carrier in your community or your circle where you can receive an initiation into one of these medicines like Hape, Sananga, it's always really beneficial to have that first meeting be in the context of someone holding that space for you. And so this is what is recommended, and if it's not possible, to just keep all of these different elements in mind when you're creating that space for yourself. And if you have a loved one who can apply the medicine to you that you trust, then that's also an option as well. We recommend starting with 1 drop in each eye, and the first eye obviously is going to be easy to keep that first eye open, but then the pain and the stinging sensation, you'll need to either hold the second eye open or have the person applying do that for you to ensure that you have that even application in both eyes. Let's talk a little bit about the burning sensation and what it is, because a lot of people, when they hear about this, they are either afraid about utilizing Sananga or they're intrigued, but it is a very unique experience when we take the Sananga, because what you'll feel for the first 2 to 3 minutes is a very strong burning sensation. And in that burning, there is a purification process where the Sanangita is purifying and cleansing our thoughts, our beliefs, any of the energetic noise in the mind or in our energetic body that we've accumulated. The Sananga goes in scanning the entire energetic body to see where we're holding tension, where there needs to be an energetic release or an expansion and an opening. And then after those first initial 2-3 minutes, the pain subsides and there's a calming and a very profound meditation and connection with stillness ensues. And that's probably one of the main things that people really appreciate with the Sananga, because oftentimes we have so much noise that it's hard to get to those places on our own. Of course we can, and it requires a lot of discipline and cultivation. But the Sananga offers us this easy access point into that place of profound stillness and clarity, where we can have insights, visions, guidance, messages come. And so the whole process lasts about 15 to 20 minutes. And again, it's just those initial few minutes where you'll feel pain in the eyes, and then it will dissipate and you'll feel this profound calmness and stillness, heart opening, and just bodily awareness and presence, groundedness in the entire body. So it's a very potent and powerful experience to have. And if you feel called to work with Sananga, we have 3 different Sanangas that we source from 3 different medicine makers throughout Brazil. Sananga is primarily from the Brazilian Amazonian tribes, although there are a few tribes in Peru that also make and work with Sananga. And so the 3 Sanangas that we have, they each are a little bit different and unique, and varying in strength. They also can vary in strength batch over batch, right? Because these are small batch medicines. And so there's that uniqueness of, one batch over to the next. But ultimately, these 3 Sanangas have a lot of potency and unique properties to them. And you can learn more about each of the Sanangas on our website to decide which one that you want to work with. And also getting clear about what your intention is for working with the Sananga in this way. Also, a few other elements to mention with the Sananga is that Sananga can be diluted if it's too strong, and you're welcome to do this if you feel called to work with Sananga, but it feels like the bottle that you have, it just feels too strong for you. So you can always dilute it. We recommend either colloidal silver or saline solution to dilute the Sananga. And you can start by diluting it by 20% or 10% and increase as you feel you need to, in order to find that balance that feels good and right for your body and for what you're working with. And so that's one element to keep in mind. And it's easy to reduce the strength, but obviously harder to increase the strength. So we recommend going slowly with the dilution process, or separating out half of the bottle and diluting half of the bottle and keeping the other half in its original concentration. And like this, the Sananga can be really, an incredible ally and tool for you to complement your spiritual practices and your spiritual studies. If you wear contact lenses, it's very important to take them out before you apply the Sananga, as well as if you have any other serious eye illnesses, or have experienced certain eye surgeries. It's important to do your research and talk to your medical provider before working with Sananga, just to make sure that it is a good fit for you. After taking the Sananga, it's common for the eyes to be a little red and irritated. This is normal, but it shouldn't last more than a couple hours. If the irritation is lasting more than a couple hours in the most extreme cases, then that's a sign that Sananga is not the right fit for you. Whether the Sananga went bad, hopefully you didn't take rancid Sananga, but also some of us just have really high sensitivities to what we're putting in our eyes. So Sananga is not right for everyone. And if you do have an extreme experience like that, don't take it again, and contact our team if you're interested in understanding a little bit more about what possibly happened. You can always try a different type of Sananga, or dilute it is another option if it was really just too strong for your eyes. And then on that same note, after taking the Sananga, if you have something that's very nourishing for the eyes, because the Sananga is a bit drying, especially if you're doing it in a dieta of 21 days. It can cause a little bit of drying for the eyes. And so if you have like a nourishing eye drop or something that you can put after the Sananga application, such as saline solution, this can also be really helpful for just supporting getting the full benefits as well as caring for the eyes in this process. One of my favorite ways to complement the Sananga in all of its potencies and its power is with the Melipona honey. The Melipona honey is a sacred medicine that is also able to put in the eyes, and it has a lot of the same benefits, but it's very nourishing for the eyes. And you know, it's a honey, right? So you really need to know that it has those same properties. It's a little sticky, it can be a little messy, but it's incredibly hydrating and fortifying. It has so many beautiful benefits. The Melipona is sacred honey medicine from stingless honeybees of Mexico, and it's anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antibacterial. And so it really is a wonderful post-Sananga medicine as well, or you can take it without the Sananga, of course. But specifically speaking to that dryness or irritation that sometimes comes when working with Sananga, following it up with the Melipona honey is an incredible practice as well. And ultimately, the same way you apply the Melipona honey, just like the Sananga, let it sit for about 15 to 20 minutes and then wipe the eyes with a warm washcloth to cleanse any stickiness, residue. And it does have a little bit of a sting, but not on the same level as the Sananga medicine. So the Melipona is a little softer. So if you're interested in working with the healing of the eyes and you don't feel quite ready for Sananga for whatever reason, Melipona eye drops are also a really great way to start working with the physical and spiritual healing of the eyes, the inner vision, connection with source, opening up of the crown chakra, connection with the celestial realms, the places in which we can source our inner guidance and inner wisdom, intuition with the celestial beings. And this is part of this expansion process as we start to walk this path of spiritual evolution and spiritual growth, is always looking for these tools and these allies that can help us expand our embodied knowledge, expand our ability to hold the experiences of life, as well as tend to and heal the different parts of ourselves that are requiring attention. And this is how we care for our bodies. This is how we walk the spiritual path from this place of sustaining and walking this path for many, many years. And so these medicines of the Sananga and the Melipona honey can be wonderful allies and benefits for us in this way. So I hope this was helpful for you. Please let us know in the comments if you have any follow-up questions or anything that you would like us to clarify. I'm sending you many blessings, and thank you so much for tuning in.